Hello everybody, it's nice to see you all watching this video. I hope it goes well. We've designed it ourselves. It's a brand new Kriegsspiel scenario set in the 40k universe. Some of the people in the IKS were inquiring if anyone had done it, and it was kind of a reoccurring question. We know that some of the people in there are Warhammer 40k fans. I am too, to a certain extent. And to be honest, I spent a few months at the end of last year thinking, could you really, do an in-depth kind of Warhammer 40k scenario, maybe with some dumbed down rules, maybe that allowed a little bit of role playing here and there, maybe adapted from some Rogue Trader, Only War, D&D rules type of thing. And this is what we've come up with. We've come up with a basic D100 scenario. Match that against everyone creating their own regiment with their own strengths and weaknesses, with their own personalities. Can you basically work off a system like that? Every piece has its own strengths and weaknesses. Every commander has their own strengths and weaknesses. On a chart of 1 to 100, a percentage chance of them succeeding in any given type of task. We kind of came up with a little matrix for that. Maybe it's a little bit too generous in some places, we'll have to see. Maybe it's less generous in others. The importance, of course, is to find a balance. So, if you saw it, or even if you didn't, the rise of Griphook Ragnash. If you haven't seen the battle, go check it out. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. You know, something to do over morning breakfast or something. So what you actually saw there, and I'll show you that it's a little bit of a pixelated map, but you just see that little castle sitting right there next to the river. So the battle you saw was Griphook Ragnash and his HQ, and a nice horde of orcs coming in, taking that castle. Now, this little unit here is our platoon 8, with less than 100 men. After getting pushed away and hammered by those snots and grots, and then deciding to run as they rolled a 99 on the morale table out of 100, and decided discretion was the better part of valor. But it also plays to the narrative, right? Because these guys can go back to West Plain over here. Again, it's a little bit pixelated, but we won't worry too much. The players have a decent map, and they've scarpered. They've ran over to West Plain, and they're getting the word out. And maybe a ship might make it up here, maybe to a bigger population center, and the Imperial players will then hear about things. So yeah, the strategic situation. So the strategic situation is that all of the Imperial Guard units started in orbit. I allowed them a few days to get to know one another and come up with a strategy of landing on planet with the information that we gave them. We gave them information that raids just on the edge of the Great Jungle here were increasing, and the Inquisitor in the local region wanted to put down a potential war before it occurred, being more proactive than reactive kind of strategy. So we've basically given the orc players 100,000 orcs to command. So that's 10 blocks of 10,000 orc units, and we've given the Imperial Guard 10 units of 1,000. So that's 10,000 men each to move around the battlefield. Each block represents 1,000 men at the start. see how they get along with that. And yeah, we've given each player their own unique kind of scenario. So we'll start maybe with the big orc boss, Griphook Ragnash. Yeah, so Griphook Ragnash, he was given starting positions at these X points. We gave him a few hordes down here, and the majority of his forces were still getting ready up in his jungle base. And you know, his orky jungle base. But now it's time to start the war and kick a lot of ass. So Griphook Ragnash, with his wild boar cavalry that he's so famous for and utilizing, as they don't suffer any penalty in the jungle. Well, not moving, that is. So basically, he has decided to launch his attack and go directly into the enemy heartland. He's really starting to just be amazingly aggressive. That's his opening gambit. Will it pay off for him? We'll see, because we have the Clendathu Sisters of Steel over here that have decided to be equally aggressive and want to take potential strong points and protect the local populace as well by doing so at these little population hubs. Some are fortified, some aren't, and they're going to be a direct thorn in the side of the advancing orcs. There's potential that maybe by turn 2, because this is the situation on the opening gambit, that we may have some conflict between orcs and some of the Clendathu Sisters of Steel, and then we will come up with a scenario in maybe one of these little blocks here, little squares rather, and yeah, might see if we can churn out some interesting Kriegsspiels out of it, depending on what the dice say. Over here, we've given the second orc player, known as Mugzod Mad Chopper. He started down here, and we gave him a different kind of scenario to start with. We said your forces are 50-50 split. You've got 5 units up in the North Jungle, you've got 5 units at the Castellora Mountains. What are your orders? So he decided to march all the way up here and unify as one big block and get ready for the war that way. And now he wants to kind of unify his command, and he's sending, you know, a few scout feelers to kind of see where the enemy positions are, because no one really knows where anyone is yet. However, he's immediately going to come up against the 4th Amplexus Pathfinders. Now, we commanded by a rather unique general, a veteran of Kriegsspiel. Clues in the name if you want to look it up. They've gone completely completely crazy, and they've decided to go a different path and deep strike up into the north of the continent here. They crash landed on the transport that they came in on. We've kind of maybe given some players some stuff to think about with regards to how that's going to affect the planet as a whole, because kind of given them the information that a lot of foodstuffs gets grown here, and it's basically a breadbasket, and if this place falls to the orcs, it could be really bad for the sector as a whole. So they're trying to do their best to protect the land and protect the people who live here and grow the wonderful fruits and vegetables. Who wouldn't want to do such a noble cause as that? And yeah, so we're probably going to have a nice little scenario where it's going to be the Amplexus Pathfinders against Mugzod Mad Chopper here. And as the last little bit of stuff we did for the orcs, we started here with Skagbaz Teeth Chewer. He started in the middle of the Snatch Branch Jungle. Now I gave him the option of either running amok in the countryside over in Hillymark, or going into the jungles and being a recon kind of unit, advanced recon, deep recon he's doing, because he's actually in charge of some Orky commandos. So he's got a group of 500, so 5 blocks of 100 each, to sneakily go around in the jungle. Maybe we'll come up with like little mini scenarios for him to maybe capture some supplies or take out a tank or something, and yeah, do some kind of interesting stuff with him. Now, yeah, they're lurking around in the jungles, and by next turn they will be getting plenty of reports of Imperial Guard that have landed at the spaceport and are marching up to this lovely little key defensive position that is basically like the Panama Canal, but just with a big wall around it to protect it from any incursions from the orcs that live in the north, because they're not aware of a tribe down in the south. Yeah, so it's really, really fun. It's going to be amazing commanding these players. Next thing to tell you will be a really interesting thing about Chinese whispers.